title. The 4-year extension means that 30-year-old Paul George will be a Clipper through the prime of his career. Kawhi's 29, locked up only through this season, becoming a free agent in 2021. Kendrick Perkins back here with us. Stephen A., starting with you. If PG-13 and Kawhi are at their best, can they beat the Lakers this season?
I think if they're at their best, first of all, I don't think anybody's going to beat the Lakers. But if they're at their best, I think they've got a shot. Is it this Kawhi Leonard? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Kendrick Perkins. Is it Kawhi Leonard the best player on the planet? Oops, I'm sorry. Or was it whoops, Kendrick Perkins? I'm not sure what Max was saying. I'm not sure, Kendrick. But if Kawhi Leonard without the oops or the whoops, if Kawhi Leonard without the whoops or the oops is the best player in the world, and Paul George is hell-bent on resurrecting himself, this ain't the 70s or the 80s or even the 90s where you could throw it down low to Shaq and, drop step elbows yamming on your mug. It's a new day. It's a new era. Perimeter play on an extremely high level can knock off a lot of people, and no matter how great they are. I'm saying that's what it would take. I don't think it will happen by any stretch of the imagination. I got the Lakers as a favorite by damn near a mile. But if the best of PG and the best of Kawhi showed up, it could be very, very interesting.
I hate to do it, Stephen A., but I agree with you here. Loath as I am to agree with you. I think they could. Here's the problem. I don't believe in Paul George in the playoffs. So, the answer is no. But if Paul George played as well as he could play in the playoffs, if he elevated somehow, because some players actually elevate in the playoffs, like usually Kawhi Leonard. In fact, he did it again in these playoffs, except for in that Game 7. And I know, Perk, you thought I was wrong and you were right about LeBron no longer being the best, but you had Kawhi as second best. I mean, Kawhi is an elite MVP caliber player, and when it matters most, he's usually among the best you'll ever see in the playoffs. So you have that. Can Paul George do something like that? Paul George in the regular season ain't that much worse than Kawhi. Can he be some version of Kawhi in the playoffs? Because then when you look at the team, LeBron's not going to be young forever, right? Eventually, you would think, all people decline with age eventually. Stephen A. just brought it up, the perimeter game. Two attacking wings, two-way wings especially, that's tough to beat. Jordan and Pippen and LeBron and D. Wade, right? That's tough to beat. And then you look at what else the Clippers did. Ibaka can defend and shoot. So can Morris, defend and shoot. Kennard is an upgrade over Shamet. He could do more things, and he can also shoot. They have shooting. And then finally, the Lakers lost Rondo. I like the Schroeder move a lot. I think Schroeder's an upgrade during the regular season. It remains to be seen in the playoffs, because one thing we know about Rondo is playoff Rondo is real. When it came down to it, the Lakers had 2 MVP caliber players and an all-star caliber player in Rondo. Rondo's not there anymore. So would it be possible? Yes, it would be possible.
Hell no. Hell no. Look, Kawhi at his best and PG at his best is not matching up with LeBron James and Anthony Davis at their best. And Stephen, I heard you go to the point when you was talking about how it's a perimeter league now where it's guard play and wings. Well, look, it's Anthony Davis. He is a Shaquille O'Neal. He is a Kevin Garnett. He is a generational talent, something that we never seen before. And the worst thing that could have happened to the NBA, not just the Clippers, but the entire NBA, is that AD got to test the waters and went all the way to win a championship, meaning he went through the highs and the lows of being battle tested and testing those waters. So when you look at what Anthony Davis was doing in the playoffs, what he did to Portland, what he did to Houston, what he did to Denver, he killed those bigs in the low post. He took them outside. He did everything he wanted to do. At his best, at Anthony Davis' best, he is arguably the best player in the league and could possibly be an MVP candidate for the next 5 years. And by the way, this is a guy just hitting his prime at 27 years old. So, no, I'm looking at Anthony Davis, and he's the common denominator in this whole argument. He is the best in the league for us being able to use his skill set at that height, being able to defend 1 through 5s on the defensive end, and he is the one that separates the two between the Lakers and the Clippers.
Well, KP, it's something important that I want you to recognize here. First of all, the question was PG and Kawhi's best game. That's number one. Number two, we're still not picking them to beat the Lakers. Nobody's picking them to beat the Lakers. We understand that the Lakers are better. Nobody's disputing that. Yeah, but what I'm saying is when you look at PG and Kawhi, let's pay attention to something. When we ask the question, their best, we're assuming in terms of their best on both ends of the floor, defensively and offensively. And even though there is no answer for AD, you have to remember the stronger, because you ain't taking AD down low. You're not going to be a monster in the interior with him. The nightmare for him is somebody that can jack up shots from long range and somehow, some way, even if their eyes are closed and they pray, and somehow it's going in from 30. That's the problem for AD. That's the problem for LeBron. And what I'm saying is, even though I don't believe for 1 second it's going to happen, if you have two guys that can play on an elite level like they're capable of playing, and they bring their A-plus game to the equation, I will say this: the Clippers are the number one threat to the Lakers under those circumstances. Would you say that?
No, not really. No, I would not say that, because for the simple fact that, Stephen A., you go back to the first series that the Lakers played the Portland Trail Blazers in Game 1. Right. We was telling Anthony Davis that he needs to dominate in the interior. Game 2, he did just that, and he carried it on. Even in the Rocket series, he was dominating in the paint, getting dunk after dunk, setting up shop on the low block. And that's what I'm saying. AD at his best is better than a Paul George at his best. Now, you could say Kawhi
I know that.
At their best maybe wash each other out. And then what I'm saying is, on top of that, the Lakers have the better roster. How do you win the championship and you go and upgrade more than the Los Angeles Clippers, who didn't even meet that goal?
All right, the Lakers won 2 of 3 against the Clippers last season, but all games were close, but decided by 10 points.
As a pair and as a duo, it has to start with us. I'm ready to dive right into this and give everything I have.
New season, new outlook, new contract. Once again, our top story tonight, Paul George has signed an extension to stay with the Clippers. The 30-year-old is scheduled to make over $35 million this season, so the new extension adds 4 more years and $190 million for the 6-time All-Star. It guarantees him $226 million over the next 5 years. And new on SportsCenter right now, here's PG-13 on his new contract.
I love being here. I love the family that I've created in my first year. And this is where I want to be. This is home. I'm at home. And I want to build a real foundation. And ultimately, this is where my legacy, where I want to leave the biggest imprint on. You know, this deal, was more so about my loyalty to this team and to this organization.
How much of this decision, locking yourself in long-term, was optimism that you believe your partnership with Kawhi will continue for the long term together?
Well, I'm hopeful. I won't put words in another man's mouth. But, I'm hopeful. He's one of the guys that I talked to and kind of wanted to inform, hey, this is a decision I wanted to make. I want to be here long term. It's not putting a gun to Kawhi and telling him he's got to do this or do that. Hopefully it's a mutual bond. We both enjoy playing with one another.
That is key. NBA insider Brian Windhorst joining us now with much more on this story. The timing of this, Brian, that caught many by surprise. Why do the Clippers want to get this deal done now?
Well, he's eligible for it now. He's qualified as a 10-year veteran, and he's eligible to sign before the season. And so I think they wanted to get it locked in. But to be honest with you, they traded 5 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps to make all this come together. And with him possibly being a free agent at season's end, they had to lock it down. And it's a big contract, and there's some risk attached to it because of his injury history. But as Lawrence Frank, the team president, said, getting this deal done, it's one thing to trade for Paul George. It's another thing to retain him, and they had to get it done to set the stage to try to do the same thing with Kawhi Leonard next summer.
Okay, we'll see that commitment moving forward. James Harden, meanwhile, is still in COVID testing before he can join the Rockets on the court. His playing future could depend on another superstar. Why?
Yeah, so as I've talked to league executives out there, especially in the wake of Giannis Antetokounmpo's sort of non-committal response to the media yesterday about his contract, the word that I'm getting is that everybody is waiting. The teams out there that may have interest in James Harden, even beyond his narrow list that he has provided to the Rockets, they just got to wait and see what Giannis Antetokounmpo does. If he does not extend and he is headed for free agency, it's just going to change the way teams look at wanting to make a big swing for Harden. Harden's a hard guy to trade for a number of reasons: style of play, his contract positioning, the way he's trying to force himself to certain teams. If you take yourself out of the Giannis sweepstakes by going after Harden now, it makes it even more difficult. All signs point to the Rockets trying to ride this out for the short term until trade conditions might improve.
All right, well, we'll look at the next 11 days and keep an eye on Milwaukee as well as Giannis here with that Supermax. Harden, by the way, could be cleared to start practicing as soon as Monday if all his tests are negative. Wendy, thank you.
To Oklahoma City, that was July of last year, pairing him with Kawhi Leonard. Clippers had success in the regular season when both George and Kawhi Leonard were on the court together. A net rating of plus 13.2 compared to just 0.4 when only Paul played. But remember, they only played together about half of their 72 games. Then in the bubble, Paul George struggled to find his offense. He shot under 40% from the field and 33% from three in the postseason, scoring